seemed like that really hurt. Did that just sting because it's bruised? And it really hurt.
It bothered me a little bit, but that's part of the game. You're playing through, not injured, you're playing through hurt.
Rashad, what was the feeling going back on the field? What was it? 17-17, about 4 minutes, whatever you had left, 5 minutes.
We tried our best to go down there and score, at least get in position to get a field goal if we were able to get. But our motto was to just take care of the ball, do what we need to do, and control a lot of things.
For a rainy night like tonight, and you broke over 100 yards and receiving, how does it feel?
It feels good. It's one of those things that I don't really dwell on right now because so far the teammates and this season, our goals. So I feel like it really, after everything is over and done, it's a great compliment. I'm more proud of the win than my own accomplishment. So it was good.
You talk about the receiving record? You broke the all-time receiving record?
Yeah.
Did they mention that in the locker room?
Yes, Jimbo gave me the game ball.
Rashad, were you even aware coming into this game how far away you were, or do you even pay attention to this?
I was aware, but that's nothing that I go out there and just try to drive for. I go out there and just play the best that I can play. Try to encourage my teammates to go out there and do the same thing, and the rest of that stuff, it'll take care of itself.
Rashad, are you watching the clock? They get the ball 13 and a half minutes. And it's running down. They have 9 minutes or something like that. Are you sitting there thinking, what are you doing in your case? Especially with the third down.
It's definitely frustrating at times. When they have the ball from us, but you gotta expect that sometimes with just the tempo they run and they run the ball from us. You took the clock a whole lot. I was feeling like it's bad. I didn't realize what we were doing.
People drop really bad. How do you bounce back from the end zone in the first quarter or second quarter?
Why? So you can ask about the game.
Get about it.
Questions asked.
Is that easy to do?
Yeah, it's easy. I have.
Tell him you did it upstairs.
Myself, so I don't accept it. And I try to come up. That's not the make it happen again. But at the end of the day, football things happen. You just go out there and try your best. That's all I ask myself.
The interception the guy had you a little bit.
He had me a little bit, but it's my job to be more physical, just fight and things like that. Just play football. I let the refs take care of the calls and doing all that.
Jimbo or Gina said something to you about that?
They didn't really say anything about it. They were more upset, what was going on there. But as a team, as him being the head coach, he told us to just move on. Move on.
So in those cases, young guys, you guys talk about what you guys mentioned, say, hey, can't let this happen again. Coaches are sure.
Hey, I trust you. We're hard on ourselves, so it's automatically, we understand what happened, what went wrong, and what we got to do to get better. And I don't think it's had to do anything without with us being not able to catch. We need more conversation, the weather and the environment. You really have to look at those balls in, just ring the weather.
Rashad, I'm sure you're asking. Right off the bat, were you at half touchdown with the catch? What happened? Was it wet? Or what was most
it wasn't wet, I tried to get both hands on it. I was only able to get really one and just couldn't put it in. But that's a play that I must make. And I expect myself to make that. But things happen, and I was able to move on and continue to play.
Rashad, I'm sure you've been asked this already, but going into the locker room with an injured arm, tight game, what's going through your mind as you're sitting there and you're going to do an X-ray and you're trying to get back to the field as quick as possible?
Just wanted to play, but at the same time, you just have to go through the procedure. Things like that, the reaction I got from my body, I had to go through the procedure. But once I got in and I was able to move it enough to play, I'm going back out there to help my team.
What was the reaction from your body? Or I guess the initial reaction?
It was a lot of pain. After a while, it calmed down. It was kind of stiff. But that's something, I'm able to play through. We'll take care of tomorrow.
Did they treat him really well?
when it happened? Were you worried that maybe it was worse than it turned out to be?
No, I wasn't worried at all. Like I said before, I have had a serious injury in my life where I broke my forearm. Pain wasn't even close to that.
You gotta get like a helmet on it or what?
I'm not even sure. Once I caught the ball, you know, it smashed.
Rashad, you always talk about setting an example for like the younger receivers. What do you think they take away from seeing you in the locker room and Jimbo giving you the game ball, saying that you broke that record?
I think they took a lot from it. I'm the one that probably going to pick it up the record now.